Hello everyone. This is wellb's first live stream. I'm James, the community manager, and let's do this. Let's see how this goes. wellb is a wonderful online platform that connects wellness practitioners of various modalities with clients and people looking for their services. So I am now their community manager, but I'm also a holistic health counselor, and I'm going to talk about my practice as a holistic health counselor. So if there's any questions anyone has regarding holistic health or regarding what a health counselor does, please ask the questions and join in. So first, I would also like to say that this is my first time doing Facebook Live, so I'm really excited, but if there's any technical difficulties, maybe someone will let me know. I know in the past sometimes there's been issues with sound, so that's cool if anybody wants to type in and say anything regarding the sound. We can work on that if that's an issue. And hopefully everyone can see me clearly. And yesterday I watched the debate live, and so that's a tough act to follow, but it's great to have these technologies to interact with everybody. So occasionally I'll be looking down because there's messages that come up and say questions and just giving me feedback on who's on and what everyone's doing. So as I mentioned, I'm a holistic health counselor, and wellness practitioners more and more are getting holistic minded. Basically what holistic means is that health is regarding various aspects of your life. It's not just about your diet or exercising. It's about lifestyle and how all these things in your life interconnect and help you become the healthiest version that you can be. So it's about quality, and it's about finding the ways that work for you in your life to affect overall areas of health as well as specific areas. So like stress reduction and just fitness in general. You don't have to be a super athlete, but you want to keep movement going and keep your body flexible and healthy. So basically, that was my draw towards going into holistic health. And as a practitioner, I find that the more I work with people, the more I realize what actually is at the heart of what makes someone healthy, what makes somebody even view themselves as being healthy. So that's been an interesting process. 10 years ago, I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and my practice has been evolving ever since then. Once again, the more I work with people, you find out what really matters to them, what they need to do in their lives to be healthier. And basically, the key thing that I've noticed that is common amongst everybody is that they're a bit hard on themselves. I'm not sure why we're often our own toughest critic, but that's something that I've learned to work with people, is like cognitive reframing, affirmative thinking, just whatever the health goal is at the time, to make sure that there's a positive spin on it, to focus on what you can do, what the goal is. For certain, there's going to be health goals in which you might have to reduce something or avoid something, but for the most part, I've noticed the most progress happens with clients when they focus on what they want to do and to move toward the things that will make them healthier and happier. There's a concept called crowding out. So it's almost like you could do that with food. You can, instead of saying, I'm not going to eat fast food, say that I am going to eat more fruits and vegetables. So it just has more of an energy of allowing and bringing things in. And by doing that, there's just a natural consequence that you'll eat less of the other thing. So I like to transfer that to the way people think about things as well. So it's not just your food that you can do the crowding out with. You can do that with your thoughts. So when you crowd out your thoughts, everyone's going to have a negative thought from time to time, but to make sure that you have continued affirmative thoughts regarding whatever that concern is. So if it's going to the gym and you're like, oh, I haven't gone to the gym and I haven't done that, that's okay, natural thoughts, but you can couple that with, well, I have been going to the gym, or I'm looking forward to going to the gym tomorrow, or I'm going to partner up with somebody, and lean your thoughts toward what you're going to be doing and how that's benefiting you and how that's making you happy. So if you continue to do that, then you'll be more likely to move toward the goal. So that's something huge. I feel it seems very simple, but it's something that across the board, everybody that I've worked with, they have some variation of that goes on in their mind. And to calm that inner critic and to make sure that you're not stressing yourself out, like just focusing on what you are doing that can make you happy and what you do to move forward with that goal. And oftentimes it is finding somebody who is going to have that discussion with you, so that it's not all in your head. And that could be through a health counselor. As a health counselor, I also encourage people to have accountability partners. Whatever the goal is that you're doing, or if you have various goals, to find somebody with each of those goals and have them focus with you on how to move forward and how to enjoy the process. So that's something that's invaluable, even though it seems very simple, to have somebody go along for the ride with you, whether they're doing it or not, but just to be an advocate for you and to remind you that if you're being too hard on yourself, because we can be hard on ourselves, and oftentimes it's not until we're expressing those thoughts verbally that we realize how difficult we're making the process. So there's a lot of techniques with that. I love going over those types of techniques with people, and just checking in with our minds, checking in with how we're going about that process. So what else is a big thing? Oh, self-care as well. So, well, one can say that our cognitive reframing, having positive thoughts, is a form of self-care, but also too self-care for the body. So making sure that we don't overwork our body, or when we are working towards goals, to think of ways to just lean back into feeling good, and whether that's through massage or walks in the park, whatever it is that you do, meditation that calms you down and makes you feel within your body just as a whole person, and kind of just like stepping away from everything that's happening, stepping away from all the things that you're doing. So I noticed that too with a lot of clients, even with a lot of other wellness practitioners. They have their modality that they do, and then before they know it, they're helping a lot of other people in this process. And they can step away from helping themselves. They can step away from not finding a way to almost practice what they preach. It's interesting. Or sometimes they just need to do a different modality. So maybe connecting with somebody else in a various field to help balance them out. Oh, I just saw a message here. Okay, hello Lior. I am well. I hope you're doing well too. And the question is, what is the goal in working with a health counselor? So yeah, kind of like what I was mentioning. I think a lot of people, when they go to a health counselor, they think they have a specific goal, and that's great. Actually, that's a question that I ask: what are your health goals? And it could be something as specific as trying to reach a goal weight, or cook more and more foods, like specific foods. But I think it's also about the process. So when one meets with a health counselor, they can explore all the areas of their lives, because I find that currently we have access to a lot of information. So with the clients that I work with, it's often not the case where they don't have access to information. So if they have the access to the information, therefore they know what they should be doing regarding their goal. What is it that's stopping them from doing their goal? So that's the goal, like a broader goal in working with a health counselor, is that they keep you on point from letting all the background noise of your lifestyle from getting in the way of you achieving your goal. And sometimes that's talking it through. Oftentimes somebody has a job that's getting in the way of doing the things that they know to do regarding their fitness life or their diet. So it's if they talk that through, or if they have in a relationship and the relationship is troubled at the time. So when you talk to a holistic health counselor, you can tap into all these various parts of your lifestyle so that you can make sure each area is being tended to, and not just the goal area. But once you clear those other areas, or give them the ample space to be heard, then you can come back around to putting your focus toward the specific goal that you're trying to achieve. And a health counselor can hold you accountable for that, making recommendations each time you see them. And then in the interim, you can work on those behaviors toward improving the goal. So, okay, I have another question here. Hold on one second, I need a sip of water. Is there a concern that you notice is the most common with clients? Yes, stress reduction. I think most of the people that I interact with, they can be focused on a specific goal, but often what comes out in the discussions is that there's something in their life that is stressing them. So whether it's physical stress, emotional stress, work-related, life-related, and finding the methods with that person on how to reduce the amount of stress in their lives. Once again, like I was saying before about the notion of crowding out, so stress reduction is a cool term, but it is focused on the stress and what do I need to reduce stress. So you kind of have to flip that, and you have to think about, what is it in my life that actually brings me joy? What do I do in life that makes me feel healthy, that makes me feel more positive, more abundant? So while stress reduction is the goal in mind, for every person it's going to be tailored to focus on what it is that will counter the stress, or what it is in their lives that will make their life feel more joyful and abundant moving forward. So yeah, but that's very often the underlying thing with a lot of clients is reducing stress. And for some, it could be as simple as creating a practice like meditation, or even a morning routine. Like if they have a busy day ahead of themselves, just get up a little bit earlier and put in a routine that's going to start your day off where you're more connected with yourself, and you get to tap into your reasons for being. So that's definitely a common goal. Okay, so next, hello Daniel, what is your favorite aspect of doing this kind of work? Well, I love helping people, of course, and actually, I feel like this approach moves away from even the word help. It's more guiding and assisting, and it helps me stay abreast to all the various ways that I can maintain my own health. So that's a great aspect of any job. It's a wonderful perk of the trade, is to constantly be around people that are seeking wellness, people that are looking for solutions on how to be healthier, happier, stronger, better. I think that's a Daft Punk song. No, just kidding. And but yeah, basically, I love working with people. I love seeing them make the connections between the information that they see out in the world and how they can make that information personal to them, and how they come up with their own solutions, how they tailor. Like, that's what I do. I help tailor the recommendations with the client, not for the client, with them, and we discuss the various ways that they could do things to make themselves healthier. And then when we check in again, they either did the recommendation or they didn't. And if they did the recommendation, they could see how it worked. So if they didn't do the recommendation, we can either explore why that didn't happen, or we could say, let's come up with another solution. Clearly that one didn't stick with you, and you didn't want to try that. And then when you do find a recommendation that works for you, there's a lot of power in moving forward with that, and finding inspiration and motivation through solutions that work specifically for you. So that's fun to see too. That's to have someone see progress. I mean, a simple example would be weight loss. So of course, when someone works with clients that want to lose weight, it's very easy to focus on the number that the person wants to meet. But if that person wants to lose 15 pounds and they've only lost 2 in a few weeks, but if they've made changes, or if they started a workout routine that they're really enjoying, I think it's necessary to focus on that goal, or that portion of the goal. It's more a process-related goal than the actual outcome. There's 2 components there. So having them get invigorated regarding the process and make some of these personal behavior changes in their life, that's just as important as them reaching the numeric goal at the end of what the outcome would be. Let's see, does anyone else have any other questions? It's funny, all these things are popping up and it says, this is my most liked video yet. Well, it's my first one, so thank you. What's another common thing that people, well, definitely the mind framing. I think that it's important just for our own peace and harmony to be checking in with our thoughts, and not just about the concepts and not just about the things that we're curious about, but our own active participation in how we think. So, and that just translates through everything. It affects people's social interactions as well. It affects our online media interactions. I think we see that. We see a lot on social media, people talking about health issues and health concerns, and sometimes it comes off in a negative way, but that often is because somebody is carrying some weight of negativity around it. So just learning how to talk about our concerns and talking about health solutions, not just health problems. So, okay, I have another question here. What can one expect from actual sessions? Okay, yeah, so it's basically a lot of talking. For me, I prefer to go in through the cognitive route and have somebody express what their thoughts and what their experience is with their counseling. Health counselors can go in so many different ways. Some start with a meditation. Some could be very body oriented. They'll do breathing exercises. I do some of these things at times, but for me, I like to hear what the person's story is regarding their health concerns. And that's where I like to enter in with them, because I feel, once again, if they create a different story, or if they notice certain blocks or certain just where negativity is stopping them from seeing how to make the change, I think that's a huge obstacle to overcome. And I'm not going to know that specifically. I can make some generalizations, but I want to know it more specifically, like where that is happening for the particular client. So it's not until they tell me a little bit of their history around their health goal, and then once again, like I said, moving forward to what they want to achieve, and to put the focus toward the solutions. So yeah, so it's the session will be talking about these things and talking about the periphery, the different areas in our lives that are either hindering the goal from being achieved, or the areas that are helping the goal. And then also when you do that, then you could see how you can transfer some of what's working someplace else toward what can work for your health goal at the time. Let's see. How long are the sessions and what's the dynamic like? Sessions are usually 15 minutes to an hour. The dynamic, it depends. I do like to talk, but I prefer the client to talk more. So I will ask a few questions and then have the client talk more about their experience. And it's also, it is helpful to see what tangent or where the client's thoughts go with whatever their health concern is. For some, it could be very in the moment. If it's like a specific ailment that they might have, it might seem more acute, more like, this is happening right now, I want this to change right now, I don't want to feel this way. In other instances, it could be almost a cycle for somebody, that they keep revisiting a certain health concern, or just general wellness for themselves, and the story might go back further. They might mention something that happened to them in college, or something that happened to them when they were a child. And some people don't do traditional therapy where they uncover that. So with health counseling, even though it's geared toward a specific health goal, we can delve into exploring how to move from that counseling, from that issue through counseling. So I leave room for that with my clients, and I also like bringing up techniques to them. So if I have a client that has already done reading and explored various topics on health and healing, then I'll suggest to them, I'll be like, oh, have you ever heard of this method or this type of therapy? Would you like to incorporate that into our sessions? And then, of course, if it's a concern that's beyond me, I can refer out to my network, and that client can see someone else regarding a different type of therapy, and then they can continue to use the sessions with a holistic health counselor to cover all the different areas, and to once again get back to those broader strokes about how they're moving toward their overall wellness. Okay, the next question is, how did you end up doing health counseling? That's a very good question. Well, as I mentioned, 10 years ago, I started with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and it was a combination of just my own natural curiosity toward health and wellness, and also I had a psychology background, but I didn't want to go the traditional route with therapy and counseling. So, but I loved it. I loved interacting with people in that way, and guiding people. But I did want to have some basis of dietary knowledge, fitness knowledge, all of those things interested me, as well as all of the modalities that I've learned since becoming a holistic health counselor. I see all these modalities as tools in a toolbox. So to open myself up to the holistic health world has given me access to all of those tools. I'm not a practitioner in all of those areas, but I have access to it. I have some understanding of it to not only for myself, but to guide others toward using those tools or suggesting those tools for them to explore on how to heal themselves. I just, I was drawn completely. And I thought that when I was doing my training, that it would be primarily to come out of it being a health professional. But I realized through that process too that there was a lot of work that I wanted to do on myself. So I kind of felt like I, hit the jackpot by doing a training that both helped me personally as well as developed my professional goals. So, and it's been the same ever since graduating. So for the past 10 years, just being in the holistic health world, I'm able to connect with all different people that are constantly reminding me of these various ways that I could check in and keep myself healthy and happy. So, okay, any more questions? Okay. Yes, but just going back off the other modalities, it's through being a health counselor, I'm reminded of massage therapists or acupuncturists, chiropractors, like all the different fields that are out there in which people are learning a different method of how to connect with somebody and how to approach them through a different avenue on what that person might be able to do to heal themselves. And it's pretty amazing because not everything resonates with the same person. You can have a group of 10 people and they'll all have a similar concern, but depending on where they're at in their lives, depending on how they look at things, and depending on what they've experienced before, they would be more open to one suggestion than the other. So it's good to have a multitude of suggestions for them. And it's what's called meeting the client where they're at. So that's another reason why there's a lot of discussion going on, because I can have a sense of what I think might be good for a client, but it's not until they share more and then I can kind of make a composite of like, oh, they mentioned this. They mentioned that they used to do a previous therapy. So this other therapy is not too far from that. It's once again, it's similar to food when you add in new foods. If you want a client to eat more vegetables, is it going to be easier to get them to eat vegetables that they've never heard of or never purchased, or eat more of the ones that they're familiar with, or ones that they may have mentioned that they've tried and just haven't eaten again? So it's so once you get that information from the client, then you could kind of build off what is working for them already. So if you get a client that is new to health counseling and hasn't had any other type of modality, you might not give them a recommendation for something that is completely unheard of to them. So you might want to explore with them what they've been open to. Like, do they have a friend that has done acupuncture or done a different modality? And you can even have them, before making that step to making an appointment with an acupuncturist or another therapist, you can have them talk to that friend. Say, hey, why don't you do a little bit of your own research or check in with your own network of people and ask them what that experience was like for them. And then when they find that information out, then they can personalize it, and they could say, oh, would this be something that I would be up for doing? So if anyone has any other questions, type them in. This is good. I feel like I'm talking a lot though, but I guess that's what happens when you're just talking live stream and you're not doing an interview. Maybe we'll do an interview the next time. But yeah, this is great. I love talking about this stuff, and I love being a holistic health counselor. It informs so much of what I do. In case there's any other practitioners watching this, one of the biggest things that I learned in being a holistic health counselor and doing those sessions is when I hear information from somebody else, to, instead of responding right back, you take in the information and then you think of the next question. It's a great tool to have as a practitioner. It's even a great tool to have as a partner or a friend, to listen to somebody, to hold the space for somebody. It's called active listening. So you're actively listening to them, but when you participate, when you share what you're going to say, you ask another question to them so that they can continue their frame of thought and continue down the path that they need to go to reveal more information. So I'm not revealing the answer for them. I'm just asking great questions so they can reveal the answers. Hold on. So yes, holding space, asking questions, listening, validation, and we could validate what somebody's saying just by nodding. Sometimes you might want to say, yes, I've experienced that too, and go on a long tangent of how you might have experienced that. I find in sessions that's not as helpful because it is a limited period of time and you want the focus to stay on the client. So anecdotes like that are better for live streaming like this, or maybe in a group, or definitely in a talk, like doing an icebreaker or connecting with your clients. But in terms of your actual sessions with the client, it's best to keep the focus on them. So even when you do have an aspect of your own personal life that might relate to the subject matter of what they're talking about, it's better to acknowledge that, validate it, maybe say one sentence, but then turn it around to a question back to them so that they can further explore what that means to them. Often people talk about it more like from almost like they're looking down at themselves, like a narrator. So if you notice somebody's talking about their experience or their health concern in that way, you want them to get further into themselves. So a basic question that can be asked is, how do you feel about that? Right? They're explaining the situation. I have this, and when I do this, this is happening. Acknowledge it and then say, well, how does that make you feel? And then that brings the client to another layer of perceiving what's going on there. And maybe that's the layer that they need to do the work, and they need to sort things out before they see any surface changes in their life regarding that health concern. Okay, I need another sip of water. Oh wow, it's 3:35. I didn't even know how long we're doing this. I guess I could hold on a couple more minutes, see if anyone else has any other questions. Occasionally I see like a little thumb going up across the thing. I guess that means somebody's liking this. This is fun. Trying to think anything else relative to health counseling. Yeah, I kind of touched on this before. There's a lot of different methods in how somebody can do the sessions, how they choose to interact with the client. So that's another thing too for those who are seeking health counselors, to ask those questions straight up. Wellb has an app in which health counselors are on the app, and they have a profile displaying their services. So when you read someone's profile, just look in there and be like, oh, am I expecting more of a talk therapy, or a session in which I'm going to be sharing a lot about my personal life? Or am I expecting there to be some movement involved or meditation involved, breathing exercises involved. If you want any of that incorporated in the service that you're getting, you need to ask the practitioner beforehand and see. Oftentimes too, you just need to do that first session with somebody and see what their style is like, see if you gel with them, how you connect. I think that is a big part of it. So it's not just on paper what someone provides, it is the connection that you have. Do you feel comfortable in that space with that person? Because when you do, even though a session that's 50 minutes or an hour long doesn't seem like a long time, a lot can happen in that time, especially with continued follow-through. It can be very powerful to have that space solely for you to share about your own personal wellness goals, how you perceive that, and it to be just about you. Like, we live in a time where our attention is diverted very frequently in many different ways. So to give yourself that benefit of having that time solely designated for your own discussion and your own solutions to your health concerns, it's a tremendous benefit to have. Okay, there hasn't been another question yet, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. Hopefully the sound was great. I didn't hear anybody say that the sound wasn't, and I believe this gets recorded, so we'll save the link, and we'll be doing more in the future. And if anybody who's watched this wants to further comment, you can contact me at james@wellb.com. James@wellb.me, and that's wellb.me. And you can also recommend things that we might want to discuss the next time. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you taking the time out to watch. Have a good day.